Hi, I'm Paul Rouke. I'm the founder and director of Optimisation at PRWD.
Hi, I'm Matt Henton. I'm head of e-commerce at Moss Bros.
So Matt, first of all, just keen to kind of understand, before kind of starting to work with PRWD, how would you describe kind of customer centricity within Moss Bros on a kind of broader business level?
We've always been a very customer-centric business. As a high street retailer, the huge focus on customer service and providing suit expertise to our customers. We're a tailoring business at heart, so that one-to-one connection and intimate knowledge of what our customers are looking for always been very much at the heart of the business. The challenge has been how do we replicate that kind of one-to-one service in an online environment where we don't have that same visibility or knowledge of what a customer is looking for in quite the same way as you do in a face-to-face retail environment.
Yeah, great. And then in terms of customer centricity from a digital point of view, specifically with the websites, how, again, before working with PRWD, how do you feel you were in terms of that, really understanding kind of customers and user behaviour?
I guess we were not particularly advanced in terms of delivering different experiences to different customers. Almost no personalisation happening through the web experiences, and our understanding of what customers were doing was, I guess, probably quite limited. Limited to what we were interpreting ourselves through analytics data, but beyond that, no real deep understanding of how customers were interacting with our digital channels.
Okay, great. And so the first time we kind of worked together was when you were at that very start of the process to redesign the Moss Bros website. Could you just talk a little bit around that, choosing to bring us in at that first stage, and then what that ultimately led to in terms of results and performance of the new website?
Yeah, we were looking to make a substantial change to our website. Same platform, but we were moving from a separate mobile site to a fully responsive site across all of our retail sites. And I guess the start of that process is that we wanted to get a deeper understanding of our customers and what they were looking for and how they were using our existing sites, and also to get an understanding of how users were using other websites that were in the same or similar space to us, and really to set some foundations for some guiding principles for the whole project of relaunching our retail sites. So that's when we engaged with PRWD. So before we'd put any wireframes together, before we'd done any design work whatsoever, we wanted to really get under the skin of how our customers were interacting with us and what they wanted from us. So that's what initially led us to working together and putting together a research and development program to really understand what it was that our customers wanted.
Great. And then in terms of when we kind of went through all that process, the site went live, this kind of user-centered redesign, what's been the kind of actual tangible impact it's had on your kind of key performance metrics?
I mean, in terms of impact on conversion rate, it was an instant hit. We saw a big uplift, particularly on mobile, which was the main focus of what we were doing. Like everybody, we've seen a massive increase in the proportion of our traffic that comes from mobile devices. So that was a really important part of the project, was to get that mobile experience working well. And we saw a big uplift in conversion. I think 36% increase in conversion almost overnight for switching to the new responsive site. We also saw a big uplift in the conversion rate on desktop devices as well. I think it was about 25% uplift in conversion. So it wasn't purely focused on mobile. We managed to make lots of improvements across the whole site.
Great. Okay. And then at the time when we were going through the redesign process, you had been running A/B testing and you had been doing some optimisation. Can you just talk a bit about how the redesign and working with PRWD kind of led on to working with us on the continuous optimisation as well?
Yeah, so we had a rudimentary A/B testing program in place prior to working with PRWD. It wasn't a particularly strategically led program. It was what I call A/B testing to settle arguments. It's, you know, I prefer this version of a page and you prefer this version. Let's A/B test it and see who was right. Which is not a particularly elegant or strategic approach to running an optimization program. We were also getting some advice from our A/B testing platform provider. Again, very lacking in focus on our actual customers. It was more a case of, we've seen other clients have success doing this. Do you want to try it? Yeah. Not a very kind of structured approach to an optimization program. So it really made sense to continue the engagement with PRWD that we'd had through the redesign process and carry that on into an optimization program. For lots of reasons, but mostly because you and your team really understood our customers and the approach that we'd taken to the redesign. So you were the ideal partners to just continue that process and bring that knowledge that you'd got into a longer term program.
Oh yeah, okay, fantastic. So, and then in terms of thinking about your expectation levels from when you were running A/B testing with your tool provider and internally, to then potentially looking to invest in like an external agency to continue and to provide a more strategic service, I suppose. What's been the reality versus like your expectations from that optimization point of view? Has it met or exceeded expectations with what's been delivered?
I think it's met our basic expectations of delivering much more success through A/B testing. I think that was our sort of baseline expectation, if you like, of what we wanted. I think where it's exceeded our expectations is in the understanding that we've been able to take from tests that we've run, not just the ones that have won, also the ones that the experience that we've put together hasn't necessarily won. It's that process of then digging into the data, looking at how users have interacted with those experiences and trying to learn a lesson from that in itself, so that every experiment that we've run, we've come away learning something, even if it's not something that we've then applied to the site more generally. And I think that's probably the area that we've seen exceed our expectations from an ongoing program.
Right. Okay. Great. And then kind of thinking a bit more broader from a business point of view, like say over the last 12 months. Have you noticed any kind of differences in the mindset within Mossbros? So in areas around, you know, being customer centric and being experimental, has what's been done in the digital area and on the website, is that kind of having any further kind of positive implications for yourself as a business?
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, Mossbros is a business that has a test and learn culture, and there is sort of nobody's afraid to fail if they're trying something experimental. We're trying to learn something. We regularly try different things across our different store formats to try and learn. So there's been no barrier to that sort of fundamental desire to test and learn. Yeah. I guess one of the benefits of working with PRWD has been something that we've been able to sort of culturally adapt, which is the methodology that we go through with testing in terms of just simple stuff like solid hypothesis creation, really understanding what it is that we're testing, why we're testing it, and what are the outcomes that we're measuring. And trying to make sure that approach is applied to any testing that we do across the business.
Yeah, that's really good to hear that kind of broader impact. And then just towards the end here now, just what would be your kind of main advice to another brand, say another retailer, whether a pure play or multi-channel, who maybe aren't yet as where Mossbros are in terms of that experimental mindset and thinking like from a customer point of view? What would be your advice to them of what they maybe should be looking at differently?
I think budget is always a consideration, and if people are looking at an optimization program as another line on a budget which is already stretched, I mean, I would advise people to do some simple maths at that point. Apply a relatively modest uplift to your conversion rate that could be achieved through an ongoing program, and look if you took that away from your worst performing traffic acquisition channel. You very quickly find that the maths stack up to put some focus on conversion optimization at the expense of your most expensive traffic acquisition. You'll very quickly justify putting spend towards an ongoing CRO program.
Right, great. And then just in terms of the potential of deciding to build an internal team to kind of deliver optimization, or use an agency, or collaborate, what would you say to other brands that are considering weighing that up in terms of, do you do it internally, or do you bring in a kind of external agency?
I guess on the running it internally versus using an agency debate, or what's the right approach, part of that is going to come down to the resources you've got internally. I think what we have very much tried to do at Moss Bros is to say that we certainly didn't have the skills in-house to be able to run an effective program, and that's why we ended up working with PRWD. But we've been really careful to say that our conversion rate optimization team is not our experts at PRWD. It is a wider collaborative team encompassing your experts and optimization specialists and the internal team at Moss Bros. That is the team. It's much wider. So if you are looking at using an agency, it's not something that you outsource to an agency in maybe the same way you would do some other services, and you never expect to have anything to do with it again. It has to be that your conversion rate optimization agency has to become part of your internal team, who have a wider responsibility for driving conversion rate forward.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, and then just in terms of the actual optimization program specifically, and that whole collaboration piece, are there any kind of particular standout kind of results that you've seen that has maybe surprised you, or that have really had a positive impact in the business because of the kind of scale of the changes and impacts that have been made? Are there any kind of standout ones for you?
There are lots of standout specific tests that we've run, or experiments that we have run. I think the areas on the site where we've probably had most of our positive results have been around checkout optimization. And I guess for a lot of people, small gains there can translate into very big impacts at the very end of the process. So that's where we've probably seen our biggest gains. But it's also helped with some of the sort of internal debates that we've had about how much content we should be looking to push into individual page types. And there is a tendency to try and get pages and journeys to perform better by simply putting more content into those journeys. And I think what we've been able to do is to challenge some of those perceptions and put some experiments together that take a much lighter approach, much cleaner approach to getting customers through journeys through the site, that I think have given us much more confidence to be able to push back and say, more is not necessarily better, and that's been one of the sort of the big longer term learnings that we've been able to take from our ongoing program.
Great, okay, and then just finally, is there anything else you would like to add that we've not covered that you feel is kind of relevant to things we've been talking about today?
I'm struggling to think of anything, to be
fine.
honest, Paul.
No, I know it's been very thorough, so yeah, that's fine. I think I would just like to finish by saying it's been a real pleasure so far with yourself, like coming to us first of all for the redesign and actually thinking differently about the redesign before you ploughed ahead, and then moving into this optimisation and experimentation collaboration with you and the team. It's genuinely been a real kind of joy and a privilege to be a part of. So yeah, thanks for being one of our kind of prestigious clients that really understand the importance of experimentation and being customer centric.
Thanks a lot.